Men over 50 who chase sex won't do this or don't do this. We're going to dive into this today. So, what is it about men who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and even 70s that operate a little bit different than those in their 20s and 30s? We're going to expand upon this because the fact of the matter is, when a man is chasing sex, he isn't doing what I'm about to share with you. But what's unique about men in their 50s and 60s, it's a little bit different. So here's the answer to the question. Men who chase sex are not evaluating you as a life partner. Bum, bum, bum. They're not evaluating you as a life partner. You see, there's a couple different types of men in the dating marketplace. And ladies, I recognize that it is very frustrating times out there. We have a significant population of both men and women alike who are emotionally wounded, emotionally dysfunctional. And because of this, their motivation, their motives for why they're in the dating marketplace is radically different from one person to the next. And here's the thing. While I genuinely believe that most men are good people, just like most women are good people, not everyone is altruistic. Not everyone is looking out for your best interest. Breathe that in for a second. Not everyone is looking out for your best interest. This is why you have to be in charge of your relationship destiny. Whether you're a man or woman, don't give that power away to another human being. I know we've been indoctrinated that men are the provider protectors and men must climb to the highest tower of the tallest room in the highest tower. Men are the leaders of the relationship. Women must submit to men. The hierarchy is God, man, and his woman below him. That's a lot of rhetoric and narrative out there. I'm just simply here to say, for the ladies who are listening to this right now, you are in charge of your relationship destiny. Don't give that to a man. So men who chase sex aren't evaluating you. And I'm going to share with you the type of men who are what they are looking for when they're evaluating a life partner. Breathe that in. What are men looking for when they're evaluating a life partner? You see, what's interesting is men in their 20s and 30s, once they've gotten a little bit of their sexual fill and they've decided they want to get married and start a family with someone, these men actually evaluate women radically different than those men in their 40s, 50s, and even 60s. And this is really critical stuff. So we're going to dive into this, okay? You see, when a man is in the evaluating of who he's going to want to make children with, he operates completely differently. He's evaluating you. The problem with the men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and even 70s is roughly 75% of singles over 45 years are divorced. And with divorce comes an emotionally traumatic experience for both men and women alike. And this emotionally traumatic experience oftentimes significantly wounds a person. In fact, I'm sure there's studies been done. I haven't heard specifically, but I'm sure this has been done, that divorce can be the equivalent of PTSD. It can be a very emotionally traumatic experience, whether you are a man or a woman. And because of this, we have a significant population of human beings who are rather wounded out in the marketplace. And guess what they are seeking? See, men who chase sex aren't evaluating you. The type of men that I'm going to talk about in a moment are called grower builders. These men want a significant life partner. It's that group of men in the middle here. See, the men who want sex, they just want to use you. Some people want to use you for sex. Sometimes some men use you for money or other reasons, but they are users. They have a manipulative nature within themselves. And oftentimes these are equally broken men to the population that I'm talking about in the middle. And guess what broken men are looking for? See, they're not evaluating you for a full-term committed relationship. You know what broken men are committed to or looking for? They're looking for you to become his therapist on an unconscious level. You literally operate as his therapist. Many of you have witnessed this. In fact, many of you have bonded with a man through your own traumas because in many cases, ladies, you've needed a therapist along the way. And we have a lot of pseudo psychologists out in the marketplace today because of TikTok and shorts and reels and that sort of thing. Because it doesn't replace the real need to heal from our wounds. Let me repeat that, to heal from our wounds. And it's not just the wounds of divorce, it's also the childhood wounds that we've all experienced that might give us an anxious love attachment style, that might give us a fearful avoidant attachment style, that might give us a dismissive attachment style. See, while they claim 50% of the population has a secure attachment style, I completely disagree with that. I would venture to say most people have an insecure attachment style. Some are just closer to secure than insecure. And depending on how significant the childhood trauma is from their parenting could directly affect how they operate in a relationship, how they make that choice to evaluate another human being. If you haven't read the book, The Hoffman Process, by the way, all the books I recommend are listed below in Jonathan Recommend Books. Read The Hoffman Process. This is a deep dive into healing your own childhood wounds that cause negative patterns and limiting beliefs in your life. Ladies, there's an equal percentage of the population of wounded women out there, just like there are wounded men. We all need love. We all need healing. It is imperative. And as I said in the beginning of this broadcast, good men exist. Men aren't intentionally trying to hurt you. It's just that some men are so radically unconscious. And then there's a significant percentage of men who have a mental illness, that have a significant emotional mental illness or emotional and mental illness that cause them to act in a radically manipulative ways. You've heard about these people. They're called narcissists, sociopaths, borderline, bipolar. Now, let me just say this about those that are borderline or bipolar, or all of the different mental illnesses. They, to some degree, deserve healing. There's no doubt about it. But after many of them have repeatedly hurt people, it's time that we take ownership of our actions. Everyone here, I'm inviting you to look in the mirror and take ownership of your own actions, how you might have operated in past relationships. So guess what men do that evaluate you? They operate differently. They're not chasing sex. Now, I'm a single man out in the dating marketplace. I will tell you that I have sex on the brain. It's part of the reason why I want to mate with somebody. So it's not to suggest that it isn't on the brain, but it's not leading the process. If a man is looking for a life partner, he's evaluating you on basically these 9 or 10 things I'm about to share with you. So write this down. I'm going to give you 10. Write this down. And just for the record, I did a chat GPT to come up with these, okay? So the first thing is emotional connection. Men who are emotionally grown up, men who are emotionally mature, men who have good relationship skills are seeking an emotional connection. They're seeking a heart on to go with their heart on. Not that it gets that high, but let's say that high. They are looking for a heart on to go with their heart on. Yes, an emotional connection is what they seek. Now, the second thing, and this again is in no particular order, but it's important to have shared interests and shared hobbies. By the way, social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, this is how we build the deep roots of trust in a relationship, is through the interacting of things or with people. But Jonathan, I'm in a long distance relationship and all we do is text each other all day long, and we're texting each other how wonderful we are and how much we love each other. And it isn't amazing how much we can connect with one another. And then we have to know, how's our day going? Did you have a good day? I hope you had a good day. Folks, if you are engaged in a long distance dating dynamic, many of you either spend more time on texting, telephone calls, or FaceTime, and not enough genuine face-to-face time to build the deep layers of trust. Trust is built through social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, traveling together, teamwork, building skills both in your personal and your professional life, intimacy, both physical and emotional intimacy. And men who are emotionally grown up, those grower builders, they're not chasing long distance relationships. Long distance relationships are predominantly for people who are wounded and they just want company, predominantly speaking. I'm not saying all the time, because I've certainly engaged in long distance dating dynamics. And the few times that I have, it turned into a relationship for at least a brief period of time. Number 3. Part of social activities, hobbies, mutual interest is to have that companionship and friendship in your life. Men who are not chasing sex, men who are not evaluating a life partner, because men who chase sex are not evaluating you as a life partner. They just want to get laid. And maybe it'll turn into something. Just like a broken clock, when a guy is chasing sex, 2 out of every 24 times it turns into some potential relationship. And most of the time it's just a notch on his belt. But it's because those men who are serious are seeking companionship and friendship. Now, the more intellectual the man, he's seeking number 4, mental stimulation. You've heard this phrase before, sapiosexual. Nowadays, the real turn on is to be mentally stimulated by your partner. Now, I know a lot of people are more activity based and they're more, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but genuine grower builder men, not those users, not those spenders, not those men that treat you as a placeholder, not those men that are just seeking you as their therapist. A grower builder wants that mental stimulation. And he's evaluating you from that perspective. And ladies, you're doing everything I'm sharing. You're doing the same as well. So if a man is watching this, guys, women are evaluating you from an emotional connection, from shared interest and hobbies, companionship, friendship, mental stimulation. And number 5, health and well-being. These are gigantic priorities for people today. I would say to you, and I live in Los Angeles, I'm going to tell you something. Some of the women out there, their highest value is health and well-being. And I mean, it's a high value for me. It's not 100%. It's about 80%. I do occasionally eat processed foods, and I do occasionally eat carbs. It's my guilty pleasure. Oh, I forgot. I have potato chips. I hide it from myself because it's my guilty pleasure. But health and well-being is radically important. Number 6. A sense of purpose or fulfillment. We're not, by the way, men who are grower builders, they're not seeking somebody who's to be their submissive partner. Only controlling men seek a submissive partner. We men that are grower builders, we're seeking that woman who has a sense of purpose, a sense of fulfillment. And ladies, everything I'm sharing, or to the men watching this, everything I'm sharing, women are looking at for the same things. And number 7, spirituality and personal growth. Look, you can't turn on a social media post without some level of spirituality and personal growth. And if relationships that don't have a foundation on spirituality and personal growth, they oftentimes are built on a very weak foundation, because when you have a spiritual connection, when you have a personal growth connection, you build the deep roots of trust that bond the two of you together. And number 8, I said this earlier, family and even legacy. To some degree, for those of us in midlife over 50, the days in front of us are shorter than the days behind us. To some degree, being connected with a partner is to have some level of family and legacy, to have somebody to be there for you, and to connect with the roots of their relationship. This is one of the most difficult aspects of midlife folks, is that capacity to blend their families together. In fact, partially because there's a lot of negativity amongst family members. There's a lot of unhealed family members out there beating up on each other, and it just bleeds into every other relationship. As I said, I didn't say this earlier, but let me just say this. Dating and relationships is not for the faint of heart. It almost requires ninja level skills. In fact, if you haven't read the book, Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg, I highly recommend reading this book. We have a significant population that communicates in a very confrontational, judgmental, righteous way. I'm just here to drop, by the way, my specific area of expertise is just to use the dating and relationship conversation to encourage personal development, self-help, and spiritual work, to encourage what I call self-love. Which my book, What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway? A Journey of Personal Development, Self-Help, and Spiritual Work. By the way, links below to get a copy of my book. The next two, number 9, and then we're going to have 10, and then we'll take it, we'll open it up. Stability and security. At this age, we are seeking some level of stability and security. Whether you're a man or a woman, we need to feel like this person is a stable force in our life, that they're going to be there for us, because guess what? Getting sick is part of the aging process. And we want to know that we built, we're evaluating based on that. Ladies, I've heard this from you before, and men, just so you're aware of this, women say, I don't want to be a nurse and I don't want to be a purse. And it's understandable, but yet at the same time, what's the point? Because this is just the fact of life, particularly if you're in your 60s or even 70s. It's part of it's the risk we take. In my last significant relationship, there was a potential that she might have had a significant health issue. And I said, you know what? I didn't care. I felt that deeply for that person that I didn't care. And I'm just here to say that genuine love isn't being there for all the good times. Genuine love is wiping the vomit off of someone's face when they're going through chemotherapy. And just be aware of that. And number 10, adventure and new experiences is what we long for in midlife. It's that, that bucket list kind of thing. It's that experience of wanting to play with someone. We did all the heavy lifting when we were younger, raising children, working, and now it's time for that play. That adventure, new experiences, that's what men and women alike crave for. So when you're in the dating marketplace, what I teach in my private coaching, by the way, there's a link below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. My whole area of expertise is to help you evaluate who's the right person for you, asking those radically honest questions as early as you possibly can, so you're not investing based on that physical component of attraction and sex, and you're actually evaluating from a compatibility perspective. If you haven't read the book, the founder of eHarmony wrote a book called 2 Dates or Less. It's the idea of actually evaluating a person in 2 dates or less. Now, I'm not saying I love this book, but it's worth taking a read, because his philosophy was you take compatibility and ignite it with chemistry, and you have a greater chance of relationship success. And I subscribe to that as well. So again, I individualize my work with the clients. We prepare the radically honest questions based on your personality. And that's something I can help you with as well. So again, check out the links below to schedule a discovery call with me and see if working with a coach is right for you. So just to remind you, men who chase sex don't do this. They're not evaluating you. And just remember, users, they're usually chasing sex or money. Spenders, that I call them, they're broken people that just need a therapist in most cases. They want that companionship. They want that connection. They want sex, but they mostly just want you for therapy. And the grower builders, they're seeking you on these 10 things I shared with you, and I'll repeat them all really quickly. Emotional connection, shared interest and hobbies, companionship and friendship, mental stimulation, health and well-being, sense of purpose and fulfillment, spirituality or personal growth, family and legacy, stability and security, and lastly, adventure. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating? I'd like to hear your thoughts. Post a comment below. In fact, if this did resonate with you, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos, and go to your phone and hit that notification bell as well. And lastly, if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. There's a link to join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. There's a link to get all the books I recommend and to get my dating vows and to connect with me on social media, all listed below. All right, those who know my live format know it's time for Q&A. If you have a question, write the word question in the chat box and then post the question thereafter. Or you can purchase a super sticker, super chat. All of the monies from the super sticker, super chat goes to a scholarship fund in the name of my son, Connor Asley. That's a picture of him there. He's my son who passed away over 6 years ago. In his honor, we donate to causes like the Hoffman Process, Insight Institute, and scholarships to coaching as well. Our goal tonight is $50, so I'd appreciate some love. If 25 of you just donated $2, we'd get to that goal really quickly. All right, I see we have our first question. Oh, by the way, if you want to join the love seat and speak to me directly, I just posted a link right there. All right, Annika's in the house. Question, I realize I need more time to get physically intimate with someone, more than 3 dates. How do I communicate that in the beginning? You don't need to say anything. Just don't sleep with them. That's it. Now, when you say getting physically intimate, are we talking about kissing or are we talking about sex? I'm assuming you're talking about sex, but feeling a level of affection towards someone is very common. But I would just say don't have sex. You don't need to communicate anything. By the way, ladies, it's very dangerous to use this technique. Just so you know, I wait for a month before I have sex with someone. That's a gigantic turnoff. Just don't find yourself in circumstances. You don't need to say anything. Just don't have sex. Or tell him, or by the way, or ask for an STD test after the third date. Usually it takes a week or so, and see each other a few times in between. But just don't have sex until you're ready. It's really simple. Ladies, it's a lot simpler than you think. T says it makes perfect sense. Compatibility and connection, a must for both, for me. Okay, great to hear. Mary Alice says, yay, great. Oh, we just got a $5 super sticker from Cindy. Thank you for the love. We'd appreciate more donations. $45 more to go tonight. Marie is in the house. I had a date on Sunday. We had a great connection. Next day, he said he was missing me already. He said he felt he knew me like a long-term married couple. That kind of scared me. What's your question? By the way, I have felt like that on a first date, and I've said the exact same words. It's just you feel a connection with someone. You're feeling chemistry. Doesn't have to mean anything. We don't have to create any gigantic story. He's just excited. He's just excited. Better to be excited. How many times have you gone on a date and go, God, I don't ever want to talk? Like you're 5 minutes in, you're like, God, I want to get the fuck out of here as soon as possible. Be grateful. But I don't know what your question is, Maria. Hanukkah just gave us a $5 super sticker. Thank you for the love. That means we have $40 more to go. T says, I am sorry for the loss of your beloved son. I understand it. Oh, you lost a child. Can I give you a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug? Oh, we belong to a shitty club. Fuck. Fashion Journey says, I've been dating a guy for 3 months. We're exclusive, and I was wondering when it's the right time for him to propose approximately. He's 45, I'm 29, so different places in life. Well, these days, the average person at that, 45 and 29, I mean, I would say it takes a good 2 years to build the amount of trust to make up the choice if you want to get married. I'm going to say that's approximately the average going time for younger people. I think for people in their 50s, it's more like 9 to 18 months is probably the average time. So I would say you've only been dating, we're exclusive, and I'm wondering when's the try, but for him to propose, well, I guess the question is first you have to talk about if you're even wanting to get married. Forget his proposal, but guess what a proposal is? It means I want to take care of you. Have you had those radically honest conversations about what's the purpose of our relationship? Can someone write that in the chat box? What's the purpose of our relationship? That would be a really good question to ask. Have a good time. It's about having a good time, Jonathan. It's all about having a good time. Let's just have a good time. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Wait a minute. Maria says, continue as it feels that he just wants something. No, Maria. Should I keep going? Okay, now I'm confused, Maria. Let me come back to it. Continue is that it feels that he just wants someone. No, Maria. Well, did you like him? Did you have a good time? If you liked him and did you feel a connection? Did you have a good time? Do you feel like you like him? If it's yes, then that's what dating is. It's an evaluating process. So yeah, I would keep going if you like this person. By the way, Gigi just gave us a $50 super sticker. Thank you for the love. You know what? Our goal tonight now is $100, which means we have $40 more to go. Thank you for the love, Gigi. I appreciate it. Wait. CM says, dude is nuts if he's thinking of proposing after 3 months. I don't think he's thinking of, did I misread this? Did he, wait a minute. Let me read that again. Wait a minute. Let me read that again. I have been dating a guy for 3 months. We're exclusive. I'm wondering when it's the right time for him to propose. So she's asking that question, not that he's expecting it. Oh, Susie wants to let us know, I wasted so much time on this lieutenant. We talked for 2 months on the phone. Then after I showed tons of interest, he texted me that he's not capable of love anymore. He only wants sex now. You see, by the way, the longest you ever should speak to someone long distance is 2 weeks, maybe a month, maybe 4 weeks at the most. 2 weeks, 4 weeks at the most. You should plan to meet ASAP. But Jonathan, we just text all day long. We're texting how much we're so alike and how so amazing we are. It's so wonderful. It's so amazing. How's your day going? Did you have a good day? Please tell me about your day. I need to hear about your day. Yes, it's a waste of time. Let's keep going here. Bump, 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 bump. Oh, Annika's back in the house. I met a guy on Match and we decided to meet up, but he is so reluctant to meet up in the middle. We are half an hour away and wants me to meet up where it's convenient for him. Red flag? I mean, be honest with you. I feel the same way. I'm not saying I operate that way, but when there's an hour and a half of distance, I'm like, I typically don't want to, I don't want to drive an hour and a half. I'm willing to drive 45 minutes. Would I prefer someone come out my way? Yeah. Is that a red flag? Red flags just simply means ask more questions. Now, here's the question. Have you guys, since you do live an hour and a half away, you could do a little bit more vetting to see if you're on the same page. But I would absolutely only, and by the way, I know a lot of female coaches, make him drive to you. And you can do that. Or a lot of even male coaches will tell you the same thing. I believe in equity. You both make effort. That's how I operate. And if someone has an issue with that, then it's on them because you're a total stranger. You just met on Match. You have no idea if you're going to like each other. First off, Annika, have you done a Zoom or FaceTime call? Do that. Then decide. Kristen says, what do you think about men that think feminists are bad? Feminist in my mind is just the desire to be treated equally in the workplace. That's my perception of feminism. Some women take it to the extreme, so I can understand why I don't like women who take feminism to the extreme, but I'm all in favor of treating people with respect. That's, to me, the basis of feminism is treating every human being with respect. That's the way I view it. If someone has an issue with that, then shame on them. Sun Dancers, he's just excited, said J.A. BS, that's total love bomb. No, love bombing is, okay. I'm not disagreeing that, you see, this is where love bombing is rather tricky. Being excited is a natural male experience. When hormones and pheromones and testosterone and all the chemical cocktail of dopamine happens. Love bombing is an intentional manipulation of another person through overt romance, So that's where I disagree with you. I'm not suggesting that there isn't some validity to what you said, but I'm here to say that the way I interpreted that message was he's a little bit overexcited, okay? I don't see that as full love bombing. Now, if there was more rhetoric, more romantic gestures, more exaggeration, that's where I would consider it love bombing. Okay, Sundancer? Thank you. I'm so proud you found that way out of the funk. Very excited you're back. We need your strength and expertise. Was I in a funk? I don't remember that. I go through all kinds of shit every day. Joe Daisy, I wonder if everyone made a pack to microdose shrooms together on a first date. The successful rate might skyrocket. I don't know about that. Maybe. I mean, I'd have to process that. I know one couple who knew each other for 2 years, and their first date, they did MDMA, and they didn't leave each other's side and got married 2 years later. So who knows? Fashion Journey says, we've been talking about the future plans and want to have a child in the future. He's already has 2 from his previous marriage, and he also wants kids. So it's serious, but I don't know how long it'll take till marriage. I mean, unless I get to speak to him directly, I don't even know how to counsel you on this one. You're in the dating process. You're in the evaluating. He doesn't know if he's in. I mean, how long does it take to really, really, really know you're in love with someone? I think it takes a good year. That's just my speculation anyway. T says, how do I start dating again when you've been ghosted? Let go of the fear. I mean, just trust. Trust in yourself. This book, Self-Love. I'm not saying that my book is the answer, but learning to trust yourself. So what if you've been ghosted? I've been ghosted so many times by women. I've been flaked out. I've been broken up on. I've broken up on women. I mean, it's just part of life. When you love yourself, all of this shit doesn't matter. So love yourself, and you won't have to worry about what you need to do. Jean is in the house. I have been dating a guy for 3 months. Got a lot of 3-monthers here. This is the 3rd one. We both are victims and divorce and no kids. I drive 1.45 hours to see him and spend time with him. He hasn't made the relationship monogamous. Well, it sounds like you're driving to him. So you're doing all the work to drive to him. I bet you that's a clue. And I'm guessing you're having sex with him and he hasn't made it monogamous. You don't really have a question there, Gene, but let me know what the question is. But it seems like you're doing all the work. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. Kristen says, my long distance is 2 hours away. We met from mental friends 10 years ago. Metal friends 10 years ago. He's 100% committed to me. I have a really I have to really make a choice to move closer to him. Yeah, good. Okay, there's no question there. Debbie says, how do you handle someone who pops up after ghosting you? Well, I guess it depends on what the ghosting is. I mean, if you talked once on the phone, he never followed up and he popped up again, give it a chance. Ghosting is where you're having regular sex with someone and then they disappear. That's true ghosting, not the guy you talked to once on the phone and didn't follow up. So give me more context. By the way, who wants to join the love seat? Who wants to talk to me live? Let's get a conversation going, please. Come on, I'd love to get someone on live. I just posted the link right there. You did say that you were in a funk a little while back. I did. I don't remember. I go through, by the way, I could have a funk 1 minute and be happy the next minute. It's called the roller coaster of life. When was I in a funk? You know what? You know what it was? So I'm highly sensitive to the weather. And here I live at the ocean, at the beach. And I've got a beautiful view where I live. I'm very blessed. Thank you. Thank you. And when it's overcast, I can just be in a little bit of a funk. Also, I threw out my back a month ago. I was in a little bit of a funk for that. Oh, Gigi Run to remind me I had back troubles. Yes, I didn't actually throw out my back completely. It was like a partial. It was just enough to bug me. And it's like having, I remember I broke a toe, this part of my foot. Okay. I broke or chipped a bone and it would kind of gnaw at me at times. And that's kind of what I was experiencing. So anyway. Oh, Jean wants to let me know there's no sexual intercourse in that relationship. Oh, and she comes back and says, should I go and talk to him about making the relationship monogamous and stop? By the way, you guys should be splitting the driving. It shouldn't be on you. He's using you. No, just listen, if a guy isn't making, unless there's a circumstance, but the guy should be making effort to come to you. And yes, if the penis is going inside the vagina, everybody, monogamy is a mandatory requirement for the penis in the vagina. Okay. All right. Jean's in the house. What you got for me?
I'm really nervous about this.
I'll try to be gentle.
Okay.
What
So yes, I've been dating this guy for a little over 3 months. Before I even got divorced, but I separated from that person from the abuse and working a lot on myself and the self-care. Um, he's been out of that divorce for I think over 5 years so far. He divorced that person after 8 months of being married, and he takes things really, really slow. I'm like having popcorn here, really slow. He's very cautious. Um, I I wouldn't say it's a complaint, but I'll tell him, I don't like this. I express my feelings, and then he hears me, but it doesn't do it. Like I said, I like when you call me sweet names or something, but he just doesn't do it. So I was like, okay, I have to understand that this is something he doesn't do, or maybe he was taught this. So, anyways, I'm doing all the driving, an hour and 45 minutes. I'm a truck driver, so it doesn't mean nothing, but still, I've expressed to him that I'm doing all the effort because he's an introvert. He doesn't talk much, only in person.
Okay.
I don't think he's a spender, but he might fall into that
Yeah,
category.
and you're really a good evaluator. By the way, I was being a little tongue in cheek. So, I'm unclear. Did you file for divorce 3 months ago, or your divorce was finalized 3 months ago?
My divorce was finalized 2 weeks ago,
2 weeks
and
ago.
I filed divorce. Yeah.
When did you file for divorce?
In the summer, June of this year.
Okay, so technically, and when was the last time and I know you're a truck driver, so you may not spend, but when was the last time the two of you cohabitated together?
My ex-husband.
Yeah.
March of this year.
Okay, so it's December now, so roughly 8 months, 9 months, you've
Correct.
been effectively separated or physically apart.
Yes.
So now there's a rule of thumb in dating, and I'm not applying this to you 100%, but I just want to give you a rule of thumb. It usually takes 2+ years to unravel the tapestry of a previous marriage. I don't care if you never had sex with them or anything else, is to integrate back into your own sovereignty. Takes 2 years and usually takes one or two transition relationships. This is what oftentimes happens. I'm not saying this is an absolute. I'm just saying it seems to be the more consistent experience that's happening in these circumstances of what we're experiencing today. So I'm just letting you know that you may not be as ready as you think you are for a relationship. I'm just putting that potentially out there. Can you turn the
Yeah.
camera a little so I can see you a little bit better?
I don't
Okay,
want
thank
to be in the video.
Okay. So, well, you took the risk and you're live in public right now. Okay. So, you said that he's taking it very slow. Now, it's quite possible he's taking it slow because he has uncertainty about you. He has a doubt about you. Now, that doubt could be predicated on his hurt and pain from his past relationships. So it's is it equal about his past relationships, but quite frankly, he could be going, well, gee, she's only been divorced for 2 weeks. I don't know how much I want to. I mean, that could be playing in his decision-making process to not want to get close to you. Now, this is part of now, how often do the two of you physically see each other?
So I quit my truck driving job and now I'm local, so we'll see each other maybe like 2 or 3 times a month.
When you say you're
And
local,
I'll
do you
stay at his
mean that
place
you're
for
local? Do you mean that you're 1 point?
like I'm home daily.
Let me reframe that
Yeah,
question. When
I'm
you say local,
1.45
do you
minutes.
mean you live near him or you live 1 hour and 30 or 45 minutes away?
I live 1 hour and 45 minutes away, so meaning I
Okay.
don't drive the
Has
48
he
states
ever
anymore.
been to your home?
Yes, but he didn't drive there. I had to come here to pick up my dog, and since I was already at his place, we rode in my car.
Okay. So here's the thing. I know you're the truck driver and driving is easy, but the fact that he's not making effort and the fact that you two aren't monogamous, it's basically he wants the old phrase, why buy the cow if I can get the milk for free and I get it delivered to my home. So he doesn't have to do it. I mean, all he has to do is reach out in the front door, reach down, pull up the
Right.
case of milk and put it inside the fridge. So he's not invested much in this relationship and he hasn't agreed. So I guess the real question is, what's the
Yeah.
purpose of let's unpack this for a second. What's the purpose of your relationship with him? What's the purpose?
Well, right now I'm not thinking about marriage, but I am thinking of a serious relationship, and if it leads to a marriage, I'm definitely open for it.
Well, you just
So
contradicted yourself. I don't want marriage, but I want like you just contradicted
not just
yourself.
yet. Well,
Well, by the
not
way,
like
by
I
the
don't
way,
want the
there's a
person
big
to be
difference. You know what? There's a big difference between I don't want it. Of course, you don't want it this minute because you don't know if you want it with
right.
him. But do you want marriage? You should know that it's irrelevant who the
Absolutely.
person is. Okay.
So let
So,
me
all
go
right.
back to answer that question. I do want marriage. Absolutely. I
Okay.
want to be a
What
wife.
does he
Yeah.
want?
He definitely wants he doesn't want to be alone. His fear is being alone and he does want a family. He wants kids. Yeah, he want to
Yeah. How
be a
old is
dad.
he? How old is he?
He's 3 years younger than me. He's
Well,
38.
how old are you then?
40. So he'll
Okay.
be
So he's
yeah, 2 years.
37. Okay. Okay. And you're
Mhm.
40. And do you want babies?
I do.
Okay. It was just the way you said it. I thought there was a bit of like, I'm not really sure kind of feeling.
Well, I think that has to do with my previous marriage.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
why I'm kind of taking things. slow in certain areas because of my previous marriage. It's a big
Okay,
commitment.
so you just got out of a marriage 2 weeks ago. He wants to take it slow. Now, you said he's cautious, probably.
Mhm.
And you said your frustration was that he doesn't call you sweet names.
That's one of the things, yeah.
Okay. So let me come back to what's the purpose? What have you two decided is the purpose of you two getting to know each other?
To see if we have mutual, like if we have things that we both like, compatibility. Um,
Do you really do that? I mean, you schlep over there once or twice, you hang out, you fuck, and then you come back home. Please forgive my
didn't.
language.
No, I didn't do that. I didn't fuck.
You haven't had sex
No.
with them yet?
Mm-mm. Yep.
Okay.
I
By
told
the
him in the
way,
beginning
please
that I have
forgive
these
me. I'm going to
boundaries.
own it.
No,
Huh?
you're good. You're good. I told him in the beginning that I'm not a person that likes to sleep with anybody. I have to be married, and technically,
Okay.
I am still married. And even if I'm not married, I don't do that. So he
So
respects
you
that.
used the word monogamous, which made me believe we were talking about sex. There's a different word that I think you want to know is, are the two of you exclusive? That's a different word than monogamous. Okay.
Okay.
Because if you're not having sex,
Okay.
there's no
I
need
guess
for
that's right.
monogamy.
Okay. I
Okay.
see what you're
So
saying.
he hasn't
Exclusive.
discussed exclusivity. Is that right?
Correct. He hasn't.
Well, well, because he doesn't know if he wants to be exclusive with you. I mean, the usually the turning point is physical intimacy. It's the time to agree to monogamy, and within that, there's an agreement of not meeting or seeking others. First off, you live an hour and 1 and 3/4 hours away. It's quite possible he's
Hmm.
flirting with other women in his own town. And he might be, if he
That is
wants children, he's possibly flirting with women who are 30 years old instead of 40 years old. I'm just saying it's possible.
right. It could be possible. I did ask those uncomfortable conversations where, like, is my age issue? Is my color an issue because he's Caucasian? And
Okay.
I asked him more than one time, and then I also watch his behaviors if he introduced me to his friends and family, which he has been introducing me to his close friends. We
Okay.
haven't got to the family part, but
Well, that's a good sign that you've met his friends. So, how much therapy has he done?
he has done no therapy. He is not open to therapy at all.
And how
I've
much
done
therapy have
therapy.
you done?
I've been doing therapy since January of this year.
Okay.
I have
Okay.
currently have two different therapists.
Okay. Now, do you physically go see a therapist or is it like betterhelp.com?
I have the BetterHelp, and I
Okay.
was seeing someone physically, but because I was over the road, then it would be like Zoom
Okay. So, what's the
or
value
video
of doing therapy?
call. It's to dig deep into the root of the problem and better myself and
Yeah.
help myself. Um,
How long have you been watching my YouTube channel?
Probably about I say about a month now,
Okay,
on and off,
so
but not every day.
how many videos have you watched?
Maybe about 4 or
Okay, so you
5, and
haven't
then I see
you're not
reels.
indoctrinated in the like my there's this whole chat box going, but you're not indoctrinated in the understanding that we all have childhood wounds and adult traumas
Yes,
that require
correct.
some level of healing. And I'm talking about intense healing, what through it personal development, self-help, spiritual work, and therapy. Okay. So you recognize the benefit of therapy. Now, he's a man who's done
I do.
no therapy. So how emotionally sophisticated do you think a person is who hasn't done therapy? And you openly admit he has trust issues. So when a person has
Yeah,
trust issues and they've done no work to heal, what's going to happen?
they're not going to open up. That behavior, it can occur. He's not ready, showing that maybe he's not ready to move on. Um,
Yeah. And you
he's
guys have this
believing that he may get hurt
part-time
again.
getting You have this part-time getting together, connecting. You haven't had sex yet, so at least that's good. In other words, you haven't fully bonded with each other. But how often do you communicate during the day?
He's a mechanic, so he works with his hands. So it's like in the morning he'll send me a text, and then at night we'll have a video call.
And how long is
Um,
your video call for?
over an hour.
Okay. By the way, do you guys have phone sex? Be honest.
Definitely. No,
Okay. I'm just
no.
checking. So you want
I
to
told him I don't do that. I don't do that.
okay.
I'm a grown adult.
Hey,
I
you
don't
know
do
what,
that. And
Jeannie?
everybody's different. Hey,
Okay.
everybody's
By the
different. I
way,
just don't.
this isn't tough love. This is just simply I'm asking tough questions. Okay. There's a
Oh,
big
that's
difference.
okay. That's
Okay.
fine.
So, all right. And you said you don't want to have sex until you're married, right?
I told him that, and he has been respecting that physically,
Okay.
verbally. Yeah.
So it's quite possible, and I'm not saying it's probable, but it's quite possible that his distance is because he doesn't want to get too close to you.
Mhm.
And it's possible he might have his options open elsewhere. Usually men who have genuine feelings for someone, we usually want to covet them very quickly. We want to get them off the dating marketplace. So the fact that
Mhm.
he hasn't, where did you two meet, by the way?
We met on Upwork,
Upwork.
the dating
Oh,
app.
Upwork's not a dating app. That's a
It is. Wait,
job
no,
app.
it's the up. It's the one with up something. I forgot what it's called, but it's supposedly a lot of it's supposed to be for Christians or religious people looking
Oh,
for a
okay.
religious
Got it.
partner.
Got it. Got it.
I forgot the name of the dating app, but I once I
Okay.
got his number and I just said I wanted to be friends with people, preferably the opposite sex, and I was like, hey, I don't want to be on this app no more. I'm taking my name off, so if you want to call me, whatever. So I
Why
removed
did
all
he
the
go?
apps.
Just out of curiosity, why did he get divorced?
He said that that individual was physically and emotionally abusive to him, sent him to the hospital
His
twice, and
ex-wife was okay.
yes, and she cheated on him.
Okay. Does he take any ownership in what happened in his marriage?
Um, he doesn't, and I've actually touched on that subject. I said, because what's your side? We all have a side that we don't like to share. We just like to place the blame on everybody else.
Yeah.
And he mentioned that, well, I told her I was done with her. Well, she told me I was done with her, and as soon as she told me that, I didn't even bother to like fight. I just started getting on dating apps.
Okay.
But as he like will come home from work and not spend time with her and her kids. But
Do you know how far do you live from Las Vegas?
oh, very far. I'm in Florida.
Okay.
That's
The reason
about
why I ask
40.
is I don't know if there's any gambling in where you live, but in here we have a city called Las Vegas. That's the next
Mhm.
state over. And there's something called roulette. Okay. You're
Mhm.
playing roulette right now. In other words, you're gambling. He
Right.
hasn't done any work to heal his past. He hasn't agreed to any exclusivity. He's being cautious and distant. It doesn't sound like you're making all the effort to him. You're gambling. Now, roulette, we get it right one out of every 1,000 times. I mean, I don't know how
Mm.
the statistics with roulette, but and Renee says she is playing Russian roulette. Just jokingly. I don't think you are playing Russian roulette. The thing is, to build the deep roots of trust, it takes hundreds and hundreds of hours of face-to-face time. Doing social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends is good.
Mhm.
Teamwork building skills, both in your personal and your professional life. Intimacy eventually is important, whether it's physical and emotional intimacy. That builds the deep roots of trust. Okay.
Mhm.
Right now, you have a very weak foundation that this relationship is built on. And I'm not privy to all the emotional conversations you have, but just recognize 1 hour video calls every single night is still a weak form of communication. Communication happens in person. You get to see the hand gestures, the pheromones. There's a lot more. It's in 3D. Communication is 80% nonverbal. It's more when we're in the presence of someone. So you have a weak foundation built outside of that time you have together. So I would venture to, I guess the real question is, what do you want? Oh, you're frozen. Oh, shoot. Darn it, she's frozen. Okay, let's give it a second to see if she comes back. Ah, bummer. I wanted to ask, okay, that was like the pivotal question. I wanted answers. What do you want? Okay. Kind of, what was that line in The Notebook? He kept saying, Noah kept saying to her, "What do you want?" And Gene, that's what I wanted to ask you. Oh, we lost her. By the way, KT says, Gene, you give off beautiful vibes. Stay you. So to kind of wrap up this scenario, she's making all the effort. He has trust issues. It sounds like he's done little or no individual work on himself. And it doesn't sound like the two of them have really defined what's the purpose of a relationship. And I came back with the invitation for her to ask herself, what does she really want? Okay. I think it's important to ask yourselves these questions. She's just coming off of a divorce 2 weeks ago. I know she's physically been separated from her husband for 8 or 9 months, but ultimately, she may not be ready. And thankfully she's doing therapy. She may not be ready for a significant relationship yet. It's hard to say. I think it's important. Oh, Jean said she lost connection. Oh, I'm bummed. Jean, what do you want? Fill that out for us. Folks, Jean is a beautiful, sweet lady. I want to give her a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug for making the effort to be on. But ultimately, here's a scenario where these two haven't really built the deep roots of trust, and she's making all the effort, and it's lazy for him. He's not making much of an investment in this relationship other than the telephone calls. And it's quite frankly, it sounds to me that there's just as much emotional dependence than there is to this situation than it is an actual deep relationship that's built on a foundation of building the deep roots of trust through social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, traveling together, teamwork, building skills, both in your personal and your professional life, that ultimately leads to either moving in together or getting married. Thankfully, they're not having physical intimacy with one another, because that makes the bonding process a little more, or causes a lot more havoc in the bonding process. Gene, I really do appreciate that you're on. I'm going to give you a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug of appreciation. Thanks so much for being on, and I hope you get the answers you seek from him. All right, did you find value in what I shared? If you did, please post a comment below. I'd like to hear your thoughts. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. Also, if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. There's links to join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. There's links to follow me on Instagram. There's links to get all the books I recommend, all listed below. All right, I'm going to wrap up this video as I always do. First off, giving myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love if that's okay. I'm asking you to turn to someone, a pet, a teddy bear, a pillow. Give it or them a hug of love, because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. By the way, Jean says, thank you. Joe, thank you so much, Gene. I think it was brave. Just so you know, this will be clipped up and posted again. I'll try to be, again, hopefully I was as kind as possible to you. And thank you for your bravery, your authenticity, and your vulnerability. We really appreciate it. Natties wants to say thank you. Zen Maiden is in the house. Power of Chi says, big hugs to Gene. Please take this time to focus on yourself, healing, and doing the inner work. You're vulnerable now, and a predator men will use and abuse you, speaking from experience. I don't necessarily always like to be fear-based, but I recognize that Power of Chi does speak some truth there. I want to give thanks to Joe Daisy, to everybody who's donated. Gigi, I did, by the way, Gigi, if you're still on, I did notice that Deborah has not been around. I don't know what's wrong with her. I hope she's okay as well. I noticed she said that, and I've been thinking about her, and I've reached out to her, but I haven't heard from her. So I've been thinking the same thing. If anyone knows Deborah Moeller, please, please send her our love and let her know that we miss her, okay? All right, folks, I'm going to wrap up tonight. Wishing you all a super duper wonderful, fantastic evening. Be well. Bye now. Bye.